Deputy Connolly has indicated.
Very much. I should preface my remarks that I've read the report and I'm absolutely sickened. I know it's not relevant, but it wouldn't be human not to say that I'm absolutely sickened. I can't imagine what it's like for those affected, having read the report more than once. That's the first thing. I'll start with a practical question in relation to the independent external review. When did it start? When is it going to be completed? What did it cost? The final paragraph of your opening statement.
Sorry. You're referring to the Deloitte review?
Yes, I have difficulty pronouncing that, so I'm avoiding the word.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm told that I can expect a report probably within a week or so of today's date. It started subject to correction. I will come back if what I'm saying isn't absolutely correct. I believe it started between the end of spring and early summer last year. It arose from meetings that I had.
That's okay. No, I'm not going to use my few minutes on how it arose. My question is, when did it start? When is it going to be completed?
I've answered those two parts.
I didn't hear, sorry. When
sorry.
Precisely? What date did it start? What date will it be completed? What did it cost?
I don't have the date with me as to when it started. I don't mind providing that to the committee.
Very good. Yeah.
I'm expecting to have the report within a week or so.
You're expecting. Was there not a term set out in the terms of reference?
The request was to ensure that we got to a position where we were clear, that we had been fair in our funding dealings with the service provider, and I'm happy to wait for that report.
Mr. O'Brien, was it not set out a period of time within which the report should be completed?
If you wish, I'll get you a copy of the terms of reference.
No, my question. Just listen to
my problem. My problem is, I've never previously given evidence about this.
Yeah.
Didn't expect to be questioned on it.
Well, no, I'm taking it directly from your statement. I'm very conscious that the Chair has told us, and he's perfectly right, what we should stick to, and I'm very conscious there's an inquiry.
Well,
I'm asking, please, Mr. O'Brien.
I'm happy to provide you with it in writing because I can't tell you now.
So you're going to tell me when it started, when it's going to be completed, what it's cost?
Yes.
Good, that's great. Okay, thank you.
And promptly.
Yes, we'll send it within a day or two to the clerk of the committee.
Okay, I'm going to go specifically now to the other question in relation to the 3 people you've identified by letters.
Yes.
Okay, and you've told us here today, going back specifically to your evidence in February 16 to the Public Accounts Committee, and you're here today to clarify that. And you pointed out at that stage there was a 3-person panel, for the want of a better word, and in your mind, although it's not there in the evidence, that in your mind was H6, is that right? Who were the 3 people that were in your mind?
H7,
yes.
H3, H12.
H7, H3.
H12.
H12. So they were the 3 people in your mind, and when you then gave evidence that they had all left the public service, you made a mistake inadvertently with one of those. Is that correct?
The information that I had turns out not to have been accurate.
Okay, so let me just put my question and just answer it. Those were the 3 people in your mind. Through no fault of your own, one in your mind, you were telling us they were the 3 people, but you didn't say those 3 people, and you confirmed that they'd all left the public service. In fact, one of them hadn't. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Good. Okay. And that person has been identified through letters and a figure H12. Is that right? H12?
No, the person that I indicated had left the public service, but who hasn't, is H3.
Thank you very much. And you've clarified that today, and you've put it. And so then you've gone forward to say that there were the 3-person panel, for the want of a better word, and you referred to the Devine report. So let's look at the Devine report, and you talk about that. You referred, I think you know the paragraph off by heart, so you might guide me there for something.
I don't know any of this off by heart, I'm afraid.
I think you did. You had it very...
if we go to page 32...
I beg your pardon?
Page 32.
Yeah, that's right.
Paragraph 4.4.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. Let me just guide you there now. Thank you very much for the page. And this H3 is identified, H7 and H12. Isn't that right? Between 1 and 8 there in the middle of the page, we have H3, H7 and H12. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay, but you identified them as a panel. No word ever, that word is never used anywhere, is it?
No.
Okay, that's some word. That's a word. Sorry, that's a word that you used.
Word, yeah.
Okay, very good. So, who else was there on that day? You talk about 5 people.
This is referred to at the top of the paragraph
Yeah.
as a case conference on
Yeah.
the 24th of October.
I can read that. I've asked you who was there, please.
Okay, we have to go to page 88 to 542
Okay.
for that.
Yeah. Yeah. You might bear with me, Chair, for an extra minute or two as we go through this report. The delay isn't mine.
So in relation to that, the two additional references are H6 and H4.
H6 and H4. So are you telling me they were there? That makes up the 5?
Yeah.
All right. And you've identified H7, H3 and H12 as the 3 with the dual role, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And they're the
As
3...
per the report.
Well, if you keep saying per the report, I'm going to open it up to a lot of other stuff in the report, because things can be taken out of a report. So let me put it in context. Mr. O'Brien, sorry, now let me just put it in context. On page, you have referred to those 3 as 3 having the dual role. Isn't that right?
Is that a question now?
Yes, that's a question. And yes is the answer to that.
Yes.
Thank you. Very good. Now, why are you identifying 3 people with a dual role out of the 5, as opposed to the 5 who possibly made the decision?
For the reasons set out in my opening statement and in the letter.
Yeah. What were they, sorry?
Because they were the individuals who had the responsibility to carry out a specified range of actions which the Devine report confirms were not carried out.
Okay.
And those actions were the actions designed, to use the words of the report, to make the continuation safe.
Okay. So if we go to page 88, and there the inquiry team would be of the view that the decision taken at the October case conference to effectively reverse the outcome of the April case conference was taken by the professionals concerned, including H7, H4 and H6. Have you read that?
Yes.
Good. No mention of H12. No mention of H12.
Well, you have to read the various sections of the report.
I have, and I've underlined them.
And I've emphasised and I've even quoted the paragraphs on which I based my judgment.
Just let Mr. O'Brien, please. I'm quoting, I'm sticking strictly to this. I've underlined it. Paragraph 5.4.2, the inquiry team will be of the view, and they go on to identify those who effectively took the decision to effectively reverse the outcome is H6, H7, H4, no mention of H12.
Yeah, there are.
Okay, is that right? Is that correct?
Is what correct?
No mention of H12 as the person identified by the inquiry as one of those who made the decision. Your colleague is shaking. Mr. Purcell, you agree, is it?
You need to read the two parts together in order to get a view of it.
I have done that.
And it's clear that there were 5 persons involved.
Absolutely.
And it's clear that 3 persons had a dual role. And the Devine report clearly indicates H12 as one of those persons.
Okay. Now, Mr. O'Brien, please, I want to be fair to you. You've introduced the word panel. You've introduced the word dual role. This inquiry at paragraph 5.4.2 identifies 3 people, and they're not one of the persons that you've identified. And you can disagree with me if you want. I'm highlighting.
What I'm confused about is how this relates to my evidence last year when I didn't name anybody in particular.
Okay. Well, how it relates to the evidence? First of all, I'm going to come to that. But you accept what I'm saying about that paragraph?
I accept that if you read the totality of the document, it's clear that what I'm saying is correct. You can't take half a dozen words from here and ignore the other words
No,
elsewhere.
Mr. O'Brien, I didn't, and I'll refrain from saying that it might be appropriate for me to interpret that that's what you've done, but I won't. I won't make that interpretation. I'll stick with the facts.
But it sounds like you have, if you're going to say that on the record.
No, I am not.
To the Chair. But won't bring it on to the evidence.
5.4. Mr. O'Brien, if you could. Mr. Purcell can answer if he likes.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, Chair. So,
I'm listening.
okay, great. You said that 3 individuals were in your head when you gave evidence, and you said that one of them, you inadvertently said they'd all left the public service. You've clarified now. And you have identified those 3 people as 3 people who made a decision and had a dual role. Now, my question to you is, of the other 5, we'll take the 5, H6 is mentioned. Is H6 still employed by the Health Executive, by TUSLA, or by anybody in the public service?
She would be one of those that I referred to as one of the many others mentioned in the reports who are still in public service.
Okay,
yes.
so, let's look at the word others. The others still in public service includes H6.
That's my understanding,
okay.
yes.
As best as your knowledge today?
Yes.
Okay, that could change, could it?
Could it change?
Yeah. Depending on searches or more digging or...
Well, it could change if the person left the public service, I suppose.
Okay. Well, let me just use up my few seconds, Mr. O'Brien. It's a very serious issue. The others that you're talking about...
I don't need to search for...
Good, great.
No, reality, look, let's be clear about why we conducted a search. We conducted a search to see if we could be absolutely certain that the evidence I gave that the 3 people had left the service was correct. Where we're aware of people who are continuing in the service, there's not a whole lot of searching required.
Mr. O'Brien, I'm sticking rigidly. You came and gave evidence. You had 3 people in your head. It turns out that one of those hadn't left the service. I'm moving on because the Chair has asked me, and I'm talking on identifying H6, and you're putting H6 amongst the others that are still employed by whom? Do you know where H6 is today as we speak in terms of the position he or she may have?
I believe I do, yes.
Good, great. Can you clarify for us?
I'm not sure if I should.
Don't identify the person. That's very important.
No, I don't want to identify. Sorry, no. It's very important to know. You see, you're here to correct a record, and you've inadvertently made one mistake.
Yeah.
And now you're the H6, and I'm just identifying that person. There are other people, that letter, as one of the key decision makers identified by the inquiry. Is that person currently with TUSLA, with the Health Executive, or with anybody, other public body? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. And are you in a position to clarify what position or where, or has there been a promotion?
That person doesn't work for the Health Service Executive,
no.
And I'm not going to give information that tends to identify
Okay,
them.
that's fine. I accept that.
Yeah. Just come in there. No, hang on a second, Chair. Yeah, through the Chair if I can. You've already identified with H3 that person is working for TUSLA, so you have made that leap in relation to one individual, so I don't see why you can't do it for somebody else.
I was asked to identify the position held by a person, and I'm not going to do that.
Okay,
but you did with H3.
In order to correct a record, I had to reverse something I'd previously said about H3. I haven't previously said anything in particular about H6, other than that she or he is encapsulated by the range of other staff that I said were continuing in the public service.
Is H6 working for TUSLA?
Chair, I'm not sure.
No, you can
Don't
say no if you
the
want.
person.
There's no problem. I'm entitled to ask the question.
Yes,
you
and
can
I'm
say
entitled
no.
to
Absolutely.
consider whether I should answer it.
Absolutely.
In the context...
Right, the public service.
Yes. As far as I know, they are.
And to go further might potentially identify that person.
It might.
No, sorry. No, just this might and may.
Okay, I don't
No,
know.
just please.
Yeah.
When you were given evidence in February 16, it was in the context of a general question by very good TDs that were asking questions at the time. What happened to the people who made these decisions? Where did they go after this? That was the general context. I've read all the transcript. And in that context, I'm asking you the same question today because you've now identified somebody in terms of a panel that didn't exist. You've confirmed 3 persons that you had in your mind, and you're not looking at the inquiry which said 5, these people, which was H7, H4 and H6, made the decision to leave Grace in the home. And my simple question to you is, where are they working now?
I'm going no further than to confirm, as I did last year, that persons other than the 3 in my mind at the time are still in public service. Okay?
Fine.
Okay.
And I gave no evidence to the contrary.
Stonewalling now, and it's just unacceptable.
Sorry, right, just,
You can make a ruling on it, Chair, but I certainly feel that it's not been helpful. I haven't tried to Chair, I haven't tried to identify anyone. I'm simply, please, we're here today to clarify matters, and it would be helpful if you just clarified matters. That's all. The reason you're back is because of lack of clarification on the last occasion, or inadvertently given the wrong information.
I'm happy to take guidance from the Chair on this matter.
What's the essence of the question?
In
relation to H6. In relation to H6.
Chair, the questions were asked by yourself and the previous in relation to what happened to those people who made the decision to leave Grace in her home. That was the context.
5 people.
No, that's not what defined.
The context was that where did those people go, or what happened in the terms of are they still working for the public service? And Mr O'Brien said no, all three that were in his head are not. It turns out that not only is one of them still in the public service, but H6, who has been identified by the inquiry, is also within the public service. And Mr O'Brien is saying, I can't clarify whether that's TUSLA, the health executive, or another public body. I can't do that, although, as Mr Deputy Connolly has pointed out, he's clarified it in relation to the other person. It seems...
He clarified it in relation to the other individual because that was necessary in terms of clarifying
all right. The word sophistry was used yesterday in the Dáil. Sophistry.
Helpful, if I can, because
through the chair,
if I can here.
Now
we're dealing with here now with the Devine report. And a specific question was asked by Deputy DC at the time in relation to the 3 people that made the decision. And the Devine report says the 3 people were H7, H4 and H6. They did not say H3 or H12. If the Director General can point to anywhere in the Devine report where it says H3 or H12 made the decision that Deputy DC talked about, then maybe he can point us to where in the report it says that. Point to the page in the report, please.
Right, I'm back to Deputy Connolly.
But if the Director could point to the page.
Well, I'm going to say, I think everybody knows the purpose of today's meeting is to correct the record. It's not to interrogate the Devine report.
That would be correcting the record. But if he's unable to point to anywhere in the Devine report where H3 or H12 were seen as having made the decision, then that would be in itself correcting the report, because it would show that he misled the committee, in my view.
Okay. I move on to...
But I don't think we can move on if the Director is
well,
not
no,
given the
the other speakers, you'll be back in a moment. Yeah, no, I'm just taking the speakers in sequence.
I don't like the word interrogation. I've been very factual. I've asked questions. I don't know, you're just making a general comment. But I've simply asked questions. Factual questions. And my final question is in relation to the Gardaí and the contact, Mr O'Brien. And you've said the 25th or something of February 15?
24th, yes.
Thank you, the 24th of February. And there's a question, what triggered that? And you're saying the health board triggered that, the health executive triggered that themselves.
Yeah, the decision was made by the HSE, and it was made, as outlined in my opening statement, by the fact that the Resilience Ireland report was nearing its conclusion, that the knowledge that the Garda investigations were at an advanced stage, and also we were finding ourselves in a particular difficulty with regard to inquiries made of us by the Joint Committee on Health at that time, in being able to provide full answers. And at that point, we decided that it would be appropriate to seek to push on and proceed to publication. And that's why we initiated contact.
Sorry,
you will come back.
No, I'm not. I'm just. My question was just. Sorry, he's interrupted about 3 times, Deputy Kelly. Just sorry, Mr O'Brien. My question is: you've clarified You're saying it was the health board. I'm putting it to you.
No, the HSE.
The HSE. That'll tell you where I'm at with the health board in my head still. In relation to you said it was the health executive. I'm putting it to you that it was as a result of a disclosure, not a disclosure, by Deputy McGuinness in the Dáil in relation to the situation. It followed on from that. That's simply a yes or a no.
Well, when was that?
Before the 24th of February.
Was it before the 12th of February?
Well, no. Sorry, you asked me when I can't go on. To 20. Sorry, the 24th.
Deputy Alan Kelly, next speaker. You can come, Deputy Kelly.
Sorry, lads. I've waited long enough.